Hey everyone, Sheree here. Today I'm going to be creating a layout using some stamps from Kerri Bradford Studio. I have these two photos here of Madison at school. It was a diorama that she made for their Night at the Museum display, and she was very proud of it, so I wanted to get that down on paper. So the stamps that I have here are two new stamp sets this month from Kerri Bradford Studio. I really would like to use this dot stamp, this background stamp. I absolutely love it. However, I think that the on the grid background stamp will suit this a whole lot better with it being school themed. So I might put that one aside for another project, and I'm going to use on the grid in conjunction with this Learn stamp set. So I do already have a few of these stamps picked out. If you've got kids at a school age, this stamp set is absolutely awesome. It's got little pictures here, it's got a schoolhouse, a notebook, little pencil here, and it has the solid color stamps as well, so that you can easily color the image. And of course there's all these other fun phrases and things that you can use as well. So I've already picked out a few that I'd like to include on this page. I've got some yellow ink on standby here. I do already have the on the grid stamp on my large stamping block. I'll just measure that for you. My stamp block is just a fraction too short, but it doesn't matter. I can still use this really well. This stamp block I've got is about 5.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So if you've got a stamp block that's around that size or slightly bigger, that would be absolutely perfect for these background stamps, which I really enjoy using. Okay, I think I'm ready to get started. I do have some Heidi Swap papers and stickers to use today. I've already cut a couple of strips of the papers, so I think I will pop you on fast forward and show you what I've got planned. Okay, so I've got strips of paper that I want to go down each side of this spread. So I've got the stripe being laid onto that orangey yellow, going down the left hand side, and now I'm going to do the same for the right, just layering those two strips together, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and add a bit of stitching. So you can see there I've just got one stitch line down each side. Now I'm going to put that aside and do a little bit of stamping, and then I can move on to finish the page. So first I've got the on the grid stamp, which is already on my clear block, adding lots and lots of ink to that. That is the Stampin' Up! So Saffron colour, if you're wondering what yellow that is. So I'm just flipping it over and very carefully rubbing it so that I get a nice coverage of that stamp, and that is done. Okay, so next I've got some black ink. I've got my Stays On ink pad, and I've got the Learn word from the Learn stamp set, and just applying the ink there. I'm just going to add that to the top of that other piece. I'll be cutting all of these out very shortly. Okay, then I've got a quote from the Learn stamp set. So all of these stamps now are from the Learn stamp set. So that one's done. Then I've got this other piece here that lists a few different subjects, and then you can just circle which one applies. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this new Stays On ink pad. It's getting a little bit blobby in some places, so I'm just doing this one again. Alright, so swapping now to another stamp. This is the grade stamps. So again, you can just circle whichever grade applies. I really like that. So that one is now done. And then we've got the cute little pencil stamp. I really love this one. So I'm going to stamp that a couple of times, and then I'm going to use the solid colour in that stamp to colour the pencil. So I'm just going to swap over to that solid stamp now, and I'm using the same yellow ink, so Stampin' Up! So Saffron. So I'm just going to colour both, and then I'm going to re-ink and go over the top of the first pencil, and you can just see the difference in colour just by adding another layer there. So that way I can just match whichever colour goes with my pattern papers the best. So everything's now cut out, and I'm going to go ahead and start finishing off this page. So with my off the grid stamped piece, I'm just using this Stampin' Up! Punch along the edge just to give it that note paper look. So I've just roughed that up a little bit, and that's going to go underneath my photos. It's also going to work as a little pocket to tuck a tag in underneath as well. So just working out placement now. So I'm just laying everything out on the page. I've got my journaling strips to go underneath the photos. So just getting all the spacing right before I start sticking things down. I want those other little stamped pieces right down the bottom there. Okay, I've also got that little rainbow piece that I'm going to tuck up the top there. So I'm pretty happy with the placement now. I'm just going to go ahead and stick down the grid piece, just using my T-square ruler to make sure I get it fairly well centered. Alright, so making sure it's nice and straight as well. And that is now stuck down, and my little tag can tuck in behind. So I'm going to add stitching to that with my sewing machine. Okay, that is now done, and I'm going to add some twine to the top of this tag. I just made this tag myself from some plain white cardstock, and that fits perfectly. Alright, so now I can go ahead and add my photos. So I've just got double-sided tape going on the back of each photo, and I'm going to slightly overlap them together. Okay, so just working out how I want those. I don't want them to be too perfectly straight. So they're now on the page. So I'm going to tuck in the little rainbow in behind the top edge there. That's all from the Heidi Swap collection, so I like that all the colours matched well there. For the learn word, I've cut that out, and I've got foam dots in behind that just to add a little bit of dimension. And I've also got this cute little sticker as well, which I've put a foam dot behind, which says shine on. So that's up the top there. Next I've got a little paper clip from my stash, so I'm just tucking in the left hand side of that photo, and the little arrow on that paper clip is pointing towards the diorama. Next I've got this sticker which was see-through, so to make it more solid I'm just laying it onto some plain white cardstock and cutting it out, and that way I can stick it wherever I like and don't have to worry about that see-through element. So I'm just going to tuck that in behind the left side of that photo there. Okay, next up I'm just going to use a yellow pen and circle history and the number 7 on those two stamped pieces, and now those are both ready to go onto the page. So the subject one I'm just going to tuck under the right hand side of that second photo, and I'm just reaching for my long arm stapler because my tiny attacher wouldn't reach in this far, so making sure that my tag isn't going to be stapled down, so just making sure that it's going to still fit before I go ahead and staple it. Just wanted to reposition that just a fraction, and now I can go ahead. So that is now done, and my tag can still slide in nicely underneath. Alright, so now all my journaling strips are going to go onto the page, and I've just got double-sided tape on the back of each of these ones, so I'll go ahead and stick those down, and I've also added some sewing machine stitching along each of those strips. So these other pieces need to go underneath there now, and I was going to just stick these down, but the quote piece that I've stamped there, I've decided to go straight onto the page in yellow, just for something a little different. So I'm going to move those out of the way, stamp directly onto the page there, which is fine. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but in real life you can read it really well. So now those other two pieces can go onto the page. I've just got double-sided tape behind that grade one and a bit of foam tape behind the pencil, which is super cute. And now all I need to do is add the date, and this page is done. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've used the Kerri Bradford Studio Learn stamps on this page today. It's so fun for any sort of school-themed project you may have. If you've got any questions, let me know. Just leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll leave you with these close-up photos. There'll also be a link to Kerri Bradford Studio down below as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.